Welcome to another episode of The Only Playbook, episode 23, the day after Thanksgiving. I'm Sweetcar, got Shovit and Shashot. Happy post-Thanksgiving day, guys.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's like happy Black Friday, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
What?
That you guys gave me all this shit
God
about turkey and tryptophan, only to not even eat turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man.
I was the only one that ate turkey.
Yeah, we didn't eat turkey.
I
We
can't
had
believe
chicken.
Chicken and ham.
It's the move. We got to save the bigger
Turkey,
birds.
and at the end of the day, I feel like long-term turkey doesn't preserve well. Like, I feel like a couple of days of turkey in the fridge and it just starts to smell and not taste as good.
Yeah.
And
But we're talking about that one day, though.
Yeah, but you
Thanksgiving day.
don't usually eat the entire turkey in one day.
If you have
Yeah.
a big family.
Yeah, big enough. But we always have leftovers. We have
Yeah.
leftovers for Thanksgiving.
We just
so it's
had,
like
I had
weeks.
leftovers like 35 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys didn't feel the food coma afterwards? No tryptophan
No, we still
effect?
did.
Yeah.
We still
Definitely coma.
There's a lot of potatoes
All
and a lot of
kinds
carbs
A lot of
involved.
wine.
Yeah, a lot of wine.
A lot of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
I had a $75 wine bottle yesterday.
By himself.
No, not Ready Vineyards. Check it out.
Shout out Ready Vineyards.
At your local places where you get wine.
But again, happy post-Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving day. Ate a lot of food. We're very thankful for that food that they got to eat. So
I was not thankful for Montgomery, though.
yeah, me neither. That was really.
I was not thankful for how he was used.
No, that first game was so frustrating, and we'll obviously talk more about it. But first things first, social media. Shout out to everybody that supported us: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the podcast applications, right? Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, YouTube as well. So appreciate the likes, the subscribes, the follows. Tell your friends, tell your friends' friends. Come enjoy some football banter with us. So appreciate everybody that supported us. Hopefully word of mouth continues because, again, the subscriptions and the likes are what spreads the news about this podcast. So if you do listen to us, certainly appreciate that. Let's jump into it. We had 3 games already take place with injury implications. We obviously have a slew of games on Sunday and Monday with injuries. Shashot, what's the latest?
Yeah, yesterday, Darren Waller got hurt. It looked pretty bad. I'm glad it wasn't an ACL or
It wasn't? What did they say?
It sounds like he stretched his IT band. So the IT stands for iliotibial.
Wow.
There's a bone up here called ilium, and then that's where it attaches, and then it goes down to your tibia. So it's called the IT band for that reason. People always have issues with that you gotta like use rollers. That's like the main reason people use rollers. But his actually, instead of being tight, it's stretched. Like his leg was like bent a certain way, so it like stretched that area. So I don't know how bad it's gonna be. At least nothing is ripped or torn. It's just stretched. So like it's pain tolerance. There's no mechanical issues. So he might be out for a game or two. But as of today, it just happened yesterday. So who knows what's going to happen by the time he plays next week.
Yeah.
So it's just something to monitor. But that was the injury yesterday that is of significance. The other one, Swift. Good old Swifters. It looked bad. It looked bad when he landed on his shoulder. That's an AC joint issue, usually a collarbone issue, or a dislocation, right? So looks like it was really none of the above. He just kind of, it was like just a bad injury.
Just fell hard on
He's
it.
day to day, which is very odd. And he was also out there without a sling.
Yeah.
He was standing on the sideline without a
Just
sling.
chilling.
If he had broken a collarbone or if he was dislocated, he would been on a sling or something of that sort. And he was just chilling out there. I saw him like talking to other people. He was moving his arms. So he's day to day. So it's not as significant as we thought it was, but who knows how that translates into like getting hit. So we'll have to monitor that as well. So those are the 2 main ones from yesterday. But the other ones for the games coming up, A.J. Brown with this chest injury and there's all these weird injuries he's having. He had a knee issue to start the season, he had a hamstring, then he moved to a hand injury, now he has a chest injury. And
He's kind of working his way from the toe to the chest.
Head, shoulder, knees, and toes, but in reverse.
Right. So he's out this week. So I don't know what to do with this guy. He's just annoying.
The talent, it just sucks.
Yeah, he's clearly not healthy, right? He's clearly not healthy, and I don't know what to do. But he's out this week, so you don't have to worry about that. And good old Mr. Tovid Rogers. Tovid Rogers.
Kind of sounds like Shovit. Tovid and Shovit.
It does kind of sound like Shovit, but it's Tovid. And he is going to play. As we all predicted, it's just a bunch of Fugazi. He just leading us. I think he just enjoys his drama.
Oh, 100%.
He's just like a very dramatic guy.
He's like stirring the pot.
Yeah.
You know, he loves it.
He's out here putting
he's
his
throwing
foot.
fuel to the fire. All the other...
Yeah. He's
I'm gonna add Tobit to the another word I use for my rap songs with the word Shovit in it.
Oh, that's a big one.
Be like, throwing passes deep. Call me Tovid.
Yeah.
Something
I'm
like
gonna throw it. I don't know. Something like that.
Tovid Rogers. Okay. Anyways, his counterpart, non-Tovid Aaron Jones, he's playing the Rams, and he's questionable against the Rams. It's probably a good idea to not play him if I was the
Yeah.
Packers. They're doing pretty okay with the other guy. Don't throw him into this like really stingy situation. Aaron Donald is historically just destroying people's careers, and it would not be wise to throw him out there if he's not ready. But that being said, it is Friday, and he's questionable. These are things you have to, check your lineup on Sunday morning. So he's not out, so he's just questionable. So we've got to check Sunday morning, see if he's going to play. Next up, Sterling Shepard and Tony, both these guys. It's like a carousel of injuries in that wide receiver group. It's like, hey, you play this week, and I'll just fake an injury, and then they just like keep taking turns. I don't know what's going on, but Sterling and Tony are not expected to play. Sterling is out. Tony is not expected to play.
Wow.
So Tony's not technically out, but he's not expected to play. Galladay. Maybe it's a Galladay day, but I've been super high. Yeah, he's one of the biggest underwhelmers out here. He gets paid, more than like a lot of wide receivers, probably more than Adams.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he gets paid more than Adams. And he's just not. He doesn't have a touchdown this year, so that's their offensive lineman has a touchdown, and he does not have a touchdown. So I don't know what you're gonna do with this. I would just stay away from this. Eagles are on fire right now, so I don't know if you want to mess with the Giants right now. Jordan Howard's out, as I just mentioned. The Eagles, he's officially out this week, and they have a bye week next week. So you need to decide what you're going to do with him. If you can add like some players, Week 14 players, just presumptively. Is that a right word to use right now? Yeah. So you might want to make some decisions there. And Antonio Brown, Arenas, what's his name? Arians. Yeah, Bruce Arians said that he should be playing Week 13. So I think he's progressing slowly, and he won't be playing this weekend, but it looks like he will be out there Week 13. And the trade deadline's coming up for fantasy football. It's December 3rd on ESPN.
Oh, wow. Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So this would be a perfect time to get those frustrated AB owners to just give him something scratchy and just, enjoy Antonio Brown for the rest of the year. So, yeah, that is, as far as injuries goes, that is the latest and greatest. Stay tuned because the next few days are going to be huge. Those are our big Twitter days. We're going to be unloading on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. At Only Playbook. And you're right. I just cross-referenced that. Devontae Adams had signed a 4-year, $58 million contract, $18 million signing bonus. Galladay signed a 4-year, $72 million contract with $40 million guaranteed.
Yeah, that's not.
That's insane.
Yeah, that Adams contract is one of the most the Packers are just stealing him right now.
They're projecting a 4-year, $93 million contract. PFF is coming up.
We don't know who's going to get that.
Yeah,
but
who knows? Yeah. Stay tuned. But appreciate the injuries again. At Only Playbook tomorrow, Saturday, leading up to Sunday's noon kickoff. Again, we had 3 games on Thanksgiving as the Thanksgiving tradition continues for these Detroit Lions. Again, I don't know why it was this year it took this long, but there was a couple of us that were like, why is Detroit continually on Thanksgiving when, everybody's watching football and we want to watch some good shit and Detroit's just constantly horrible? Well, the history on that I look back is the first Thanksgiving game was played in Detroit back in 1934. And then you also brought up a good point. What was it that you said?
Yeah, basically, no matter what team they put on there, we're going to watch the Thanksgiving game, right?
Yeah.
So why not put the team that just always sucks?
Gets the shittiest typical ratings. Yeah,
exactly. And so, they get the highest ratings during Thanksgiving. So why not?
So it makes sense. It gives them an excuse saying the first game was played there, so we want to keep this tradition alive. But at the end of the day, everybody has the game on, regardless of the shittiest teams playing. But the Detroit Lions again this year hosting the Chicago Bears. Bears came into town at 4-6. The Lions were 0-9-1, still searching for their first victory. And God damn it, they got close again, but just can't quite finish it up. 16-14, Bears win by 2. Lions cover the 3.5-point spread. But the Bears do end up winning in an ugly, ugly game. Andy Dalton was in. Obviously, Justin Fields did not play. No. And they clearly thought that because Dalton was in, he was like Patrick Mahomes because they were like, we're just going to go gunslinging mentality here. And it was just so freaking ugly.
Yeah. The receivers weren't helping very much either. But, I mean, he started off well. The game started off well. Even Goff, he completed 13 straight passes to start the game before his first incompletion. That's the longest streak by any player on Thanksgiving since 1991. So I was watching that shit, and I was like, oh, my God, this is the resurgence of Goff, and that just went downhill after those 13 passes so quickly.
Yeah, and then on the other side, another big game for Mooney, back-to-back, like 100-yard game, and looks like he's kind of solidified that wide receiver 1 role. And Cole Kmet as well with 11 targets.
Yeah. It was just them two.
Right.
It was just
literally them two. It was, insane how much they were throwing to Cole Kmet. And it seems like, again, we were watching the game because me and you both own David Montgomery, so we were looking for all the dump-offs. But Dalton is his reads are always down the field. He's always looking down the field.
Zero looks at the running back.
Again, in a quarterback, you love that, but in a fantasy quarterback, when you have the running back, you hate that, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, Montgomery's open every time. So Cole Kmet up the middle was money for him, and Mooney stretched the field. I mean, he was getting by defenders. So they did a good job. But the Lions, I mean, they had a chance. Goff had 2 touchdowns, didn't actually turn the ball over this game, which is rare for Goff. And with the Swift injury, Jamal Williams saw 15 carries for 65 yards. So all of a sudden, he kind of resurged. They signed Josh Reynolds, and he just kind of slided right into the number 1 receiver slot with 3 for 70 and a touchdown. And Hawkinson got the other touchdown. So, I mean, the Bears are one of the few teams left on the Lions' schedule that the Lions have an opportunity to win. Yeah. And that window continues to shrink now.
Yeah. They'll pull one out here somewhere, but
yeah. It's looking tough for the Lions. I mean, at this point, just lose all the games. Like, don't even try.
Yeah. Get in the history books for the wrong reasons, but at least you're in the history books.
Yeah.
You know?
So one thing that needs to be talked about is they're improving a few things. We saw some good things from the Lions early on in the game, but this is their 10th straight game where they've scored less than 20 points. Right? Like, you expect to win NFL games with scoring less than 20 points. This is the longest streak since 1942. So I mean, you're not going to win games, Lions. Like, you need to start finding ways to score. Like, what's up with all this running back conservative stuff? Like, you need to score points to win in the NFL.
Yeah, and another guy, Amani Oruwariye. Did you guys see that interception that Andy Dalton threw in the red zone?
Yeah,
and that was sick grab.
He could have had 2 picks.
Yeah. So he's actually tied for 3rd place with 5 interceptions this year.
Nice.
So a little bright star for the Lions there.
Yeah.
Quick exercise. So the Lions have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more games left, right?
Yeah.
Let's all predict where their first loss is coming. So I'm going to give you the games. First win is coming. They're at home against the Vikings next, at the Broncos, home against the Cardinals, at the Falcons, at the Seahawks, and home against the Packers.
It's got to be either Falcons or Broncos, right?
I'm going either Seahawks or Falcons.
My thing is, if they lose to the Falcons and they're at Seattle week 16 or 17, still looking for the first win, they're not winning a game. Their win has to come within the next 4 games. Otherwise, the pressure mounts too high. Yeah. And at Seattle's a really hard place to play. I don't care how bad Seattle is.
And they're fighting for a playoff spot.
And they're still fighting, right? They still got Russell Wilson. So that doesn't pan out. And then they could get really lucky week 17 or 18 where the Packers have already clinched number 1 seed and they sit everybody. But that's a pathetic way to get your first win.
I'm going Falcons. Falcons are a poor team. They're a poor team.
At the Falcons.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the best option, but then the Falcons also do show up every randomly.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan has a stellar game and it's tough. Can
I just not pick it?
Yeah, I know, right?
No. But yeah, I'll go Falcons.
As long as it's not next week, I don't give a shit. Just don't win next week and we're good.
Yeah.
But the Bears, again, the Bears are now 4-7. Lions are 0-10-1. Yeah. Bears technically still not out of playoff contention.
Right. Yeah. But Matt Nagy looks like he's probably going to go.
Yeah. It's already like 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock almost, and he's still here.
The reports were that he was already going to get fired on Friday, but they didn't want to fire him before the Thursday night game because travel and everything
and Thanksgiving.
Wise,
that's kind of
and Thanksgiving, it would have been screwed. But if it's today, it should be happening at any point right now.
Yeah. I don't think you can fire a coach after he wins the Thanksgiving game, though. You probably have to wait a week.
You beat the Lions by 2.
With the field goal?
By 2.
That's a loss.
You
to
beat
me.
the Lions by
That's
2. So
I don't know.
It's not convincing enough that if they'd already determined that he's not the solution, a Lions victory by 2, I don't think he's going to push the needle to the other side. You know,
that's a good point.
Also, at his kids' game, they're like fire Nagy.
That's so messed up.
And at the hockey game, at a WWE game, they were chanting fire Nagy. Anything that's happening in Chicago right now, they're chanting
fire Nagy.
Fire Nagy.
All of that I get, but don't taking it so far as his kid's football game.
Yeah.
His high school kid is playing at a football game, and the crowd is chanting "Fire Nagy."
Chicago.
God, man, we're just passionate.
We'll be like our pizza deep and our daggers deeper.
Yeah. So again, Bears still in contention. Lions basically out of it. The next game, the middle game of the Thanksgiving Day slate, the Raiders traveled to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Raiders constantly toying with fake news and not. We deemed them fake news last week. What do? They come to Dallas and win 36-33 final. Raiders cover the +7 spread, win outright. The over 51 just gets shit on. Raiders are now 6-5. Cowboys dropped to 7-4. Cowboys doing that thing that they do every year where you're like, oh shit.
Yep.
It's November.
We continue
December.
to tell the Cowboys. We continue to give the benefit of the doubt to the Cowboys, and then they want us to be like,
y'all still dumb boys?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, Raiders 36 points on that Cowboys defense.
Yeah, Cowboys defense sus as hell.
You know,
sus.
this is crazy because if we had done a recording of a preview of this before, I'd be like, oh man, you got to get it on the under. The Raiders defense is not that bad. Cowboys defense put up, it was able to stop Mahomes last week. So I'm like, that 51.5, I mean, even tease it up, 57 and a half.
57.
No, that did not happen. That did not happen. But it was a really good game, right?
Yeah.
Very close up until the end. It was like 30-30. Went into overtime, and then I think there was a lot of penalties.
Yeah, most penalties so far. This was insane.
28 penalties, 14 for each team.
Yeah, it's crazy. They dictated this game. The refs clearly just dictated this game.
You can probably call that many penalties in every single football game, right?
Control
the whole adage of the holdings every play. Mm-hmm. The refs actually were doing it this game. Yeah. Why are you doing that?
I'm not sure. It made it very unfun to watch.
It was not fun. Even though it's 36-33, high-powered offense is flying everywhere. The constant stoppage, the constant flags, and the constant like second and 20s and shit like that.
The one, so the pass interference call, I'm like, okay, the defender's not looking around.
Which one?
There was the one where he didn't turn. Anthony Brown.
Turn.
Yeah, that was a PI. That's a PI.
I get that. But then there was like where the center looks down. And that's a false start?
That was not a false start. That's not a false start.
I didn't...
Even Gene Stadgetor or Serator or whatever, they brought him in. He's like, yeah, that the center does that every time. That's how he lets the people know he's about to hike it.
Right.
It's not a false start.
He did that the next play.
Yeah, it wasn't a false start.
And it wasn't a false start.
Exactly.
It wasn't a false
He's
start.
been doing it the whole game. They just are like, you know what?
Yeah, it was unreal.
Hasn't been a flag in 30 seconds, false start.
It was unreal. I thought this game was going to be close. I didn't think anyone was going to beat anybody outright, but I did not think it was going to be 36-33. I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, 23-26.
Yeah. Couple notables, obviously, right? Derek Carr, 373, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Josh Jacobs finally had a decent game, 22 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah. He also did catch 2 for 25. They brought in Mariota, obviously, in the goal line, Taysom Hill situation.
Yep.
Comes in and rushes for a touchdown. And Deshaun Jackson. Yeah. Catch that one over the middle and just puts on the burners at like 37 years old. Still faster than everybody.
Yeah. You want to talk about the MVP of the game, though?
You talk about the MVP of the
game. Daniel Carlson, baby. Shit. 5 for 5 with a 56-yarder. And he won the game with a... Oh, my God. I wanted to pet him like on the head while the rest of his team was petting him on the head after he made the game winner. I just got up to my
18 fantasy points.
Insane. 21.
Oh, 21?
Yeah.
21 fantasy points.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like the reason I started him was because so it's like, the Cowboys defense is kind of sus, right? Mm-hmm. And then the Raiders, they can't finish. Like they're very they move the ball at will and they can't finish. That's a recipe for kicking points. Right. So, yeah, that worked out beautifully. The Cowboys, on the other hand, though, what happened with the Cowboys offense?
I mean, I really, really liked another impressive game, and just on the eye test and seeing everything, Tony Pollard is fucking
so much
good.
Better. Yeah. He's better than
every
Zeke.
time he touches the ball, it's like electricity, and then every time Zeke touches the ball, you're just like, like I'm like, dude, come on, Zeke.
He seems like he's lost a step.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard looks fast.
Yeah, he does.
Dude,
he is fast.
He's next level fast. He's got that insane
he needs to be a
home
starter.
Run hitting.
This is a starter.
That kick return for a touchdown was insane. Right. Huge. I mean, he had 10 for 36. Zeke only had 9 for 25. Zeke did get the touchdown.
I also saw news this morning when I woke up that said Zeke will be limited for the rest of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. They're going to limit his touches for the rest of the season. So
I mean, you can't not give Tony Pollard touches with the way he's playing, right? Yeah. 4 for 32 on the air. Zeke did catch 6 for 24. The two guys that had to step up in the absence of the receivers getting hurt, Lamb and
Wilson.
Cooper. We had Cedric Wilson and Michael Gallup both go for 100 yards, 5 and 7 catches respectively. So good games from them. Dalton Schultz, 3 for 46, had that touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Should have had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he actually should have. 100%. But again, great game offensively, but the Cowboys defense just so many holes.
One guy to talk about if Darren Waller's out, Foster Moreau is a backup tight end, and he seemed to have he had 77 snaps.
And 5 targets.
Right.
He only had 1 catch for 3 yards, but first time for a tight end. You're looking for other reasons to start him. 77% of snaps or total snaps?
Total snaps.
How many snaps in the game was it? Does it say?
87.
Oh, yeah. So 77 of 87. Yeah. So he's literally on the field majority of the time.
They like to use him. They've thrown him out there a couple of times during the season, and they get the ball to him whenever he is out there. But getting 77% total snaps, that's going to get him a lot more looks.
I mean, Waller got injured when? Third quarter?
It was later, yeah. It was after halftime.
He had 2 catches for 33 yards on 5 targets, right? After that, Foster Moreau comes in, only has 1 for 3, but also got 5 targets. So it's evident the Raiders' offense revolves a lot around throwing the tight end the football.
Yeah. And this game, they were up for a good amount of the time, so they ran the ball with Josh Jacobs quite often. They kind of, this is what they've been wanting to do. They just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, his PFF grades are pretty good too. So Moreau, he's earned a 77.3 PFF grade since 2019, which is the 10th best among tight ends over that span. Cool. So
has he always just been like a backup blocking tight end?
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
Okay,
he doesn't get any looks.
So highlight one last guy, Hunter Renfrow, 8 for 134 on 9 targets. I mean, that's insane. Yeah. Good for that guy. He's literally the epitome of the perfect slot receiver.
Yeah,
I mean, the perfect slot receiver. So good for them. Again, the Raiders get the win. They're 6-5. Again, they're just teeter tottering. Fake news, real news, fake news, real news. But
as expected, right? Yeah. Like we don't expect them to like.
They never solidify one way or the other. Cowboys 7-4. Still again atop the NFC East and still sitting 3rd in the NFC overall. But again, there's concern. There's definitely concern. There's clearly flaws and holes in their defense. Their offense, regardless of their injuries, was still putting up points, so that's not an issue at all. But the last game on the Thanksgiving slate, the nightcap, the Bills traveled to New Orleans to take on the Saints, and it was all Buffalo. 31-6 final. Buffalo covers a 7-point spread, under 45 hits. Saints offense was inept, and Buffalo's defense was great.
Yeah, the Saints have scored 7 points or fewer in the first half in each of their 6 losses this season. And, it's just
slow starts.
And then you add this with the whole Simeon thing. He's lost all 4 games he's played. They're going on a wrong trajectory out here, and it's not looking pretty for the Saints to make the playoffs at this point. I know they are in it at this point. They're 7th, right?
Yeah, they're technically still in it, I think.
But yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah, and then on the Bills side, the tight end.
Yeah,
I love this guy. Dawson Knox, man.
I wish I started him instead of freaking Tony Jones Jr. Huge mistake.
3 receptions, 32 yards, and the biggest factor there, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's the red zone target. And Diggs had a pretty solid game too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Diggs had 7 receptions, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. So good games from those 2 guys that we expect. Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley. Not that great.
Yeah. Again, game script 31-6 when you're winning like that.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the receivers outside of whoever scores the touchdown is probably not going to do very much. But Breida's looking like,
give Breida Singletary touches. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I've seen enough from Singletary. I feel like every time Breida touches the ball, good things happen.
Yeah, he's faster.
Yeah.
He's super fast. I mean, Moss was a healthy scratch.
Yeah,
so
that's big.
They truly believe in Singletary and Breida.
Which those guys are very similar type of running backs to me, right? Breida's obviously faster. Like he flashes more just eye test and off the tape, but there's obviously been a reason they can't give him a decent workload. He's probably small, probably gets hurt. Like that, I think maybe that's his issue. I don't know, but every time Breida's touched the ball, albeit in very limited touches the last 4 weeks, it's been good things are happening.
He averaged 10 yards per carry on 5 carries.
Yeah.
Who did, Breida?
Breida did.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Wait, this week or last week? I think that was 5 for 51 last week, right?
He didn't do very well this week.
He had 9 for 26 this week, but 2 for 29 through the air and caught the touchdown pass. So Diggs got his 7 for 74 and a touchdown, obviously. One thing I thought was funny, I don't know why I'd never heard of this guy, but maybe you guys had. This is my first time.
The tight end?
No, an NFL player with a first name that starts with Lil.
His name is actually Lil?
His name is Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Wow.
I don't know.
Lil Jordan.
How you spell Lil?
Lil''.
That's awesome.
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Wow.
His literal name. His first name is Lil Jordan.
So the rap game is over? Now we've infiltrated into the
He went to Texas. That's where that name does kind of sound familiar, but yeah, he went to Texas, second-year receiver, Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Damn, good old Lil Jordan.
But yeah, the Saints.
How tall is he?
Let's see.
He's probably not that little.
Yeah, I bet he's probably big. They probably should call him Big Jordan.
He is 6'4".
Lil Jordan at 6'4"? All right, bro. Maybe he's little compared to Jordan, like Michael Jordan, because he's 6'6".
Yeah.
But yeah, Saints again dropping. They're 5-6 now. They're actually there's a lot of teams in that 6-7 spot. So Saints are currently 10th right now in playoff projections, and I want to actually dive into playoff projections at the end of the show. We'll just add that in because I want to see kind of where everybody's at. But nonetheless, Bills take care of business. They're 7-4. They they're back and forth. One statement game, you're like, Bills are back. One shitty game, against the Jags, and you're like, oh, Bills are fake news. But one thing I'm still not impressed with is Josh Allen's decision making. Sometimes his accuracy is very erratic. Still had 2 interceptions. I know he only had 5 incompletions, but the 2 interceptions, they were very like unnecessary interceptions, and that seems to be the case with him. But as long as they're racking up wins, it doesn't really matter. Those are the 3 games that have already happened. Now let's talk about the games that are happening on Sunday.
Here's a quick little fun fact before we move on.
Yeah.
The Saints have not completed a 2-point conversion on 10 straight attempts. So they just suck at close game management.
Yeah. Wow. Their red zone offense and shit's probably horrible right now. Quarterback, you have like a third string running
I
back,
feel bad for
all backup receivers.
Before the season started, they had expected Winston, Michael Thomas,
Alvin
Kamara,
yeah.
having both of their linemen, their tackles. Yeah. They have none of these players right now. So it's like, they're scrambling.
Yeah. Oh, and also shout out to Diggs on that touchdown catch. Did you see the route he ran on Lattimore?
Yeah.
Destroyed Marshawn Lattimore.
Dude.
Like just destroyed him.
Yep. You had to dive for it. Still didn't get it. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah, so let's jump in. Sunday, we have the first game on the board. The Pittsburgh Steelers show it are traveling to Cincinnati. Divisional game. Bengals are up a half game on the Steelers. They're 6-4. Pittsburgh's 5-4-1. Bengals are getting 3.5 points at home, so they are favored over under 45. Talk to us about that. I know there's some key defensive players that are back.
Yeah, Minka's back, activated. TJ Watt will be back. Joe Hayden did practice, but he's a game time decision.
Okay.
We need all of those guys and more against the Cincinnati Bengals, whose offense is pretty good. And so we're it's all going to boil down to whether Ben Roethlisberger can repeat that same performance that he did with the Chargers last week. Mm-hmm. He was accurate. He was getting the ball to Claypool. Deontay Johnson obviously got his. So if we can continue that same offense, because we right now rank 30th on offense behind the Texans, and I believe the Jets, or no, the Lions. Texans and Lions are
ahead of you guys. Or are they the 31st and 32nd?
Right, they're the 31st and 32nd, ahead of them. Okay. So, but we're not looking really good on offense. But that's the from my understanding, the key to the game is Ben Roethlisberger's repeat performance as he did with the Chargers, and we could probably get the W if we do that.
Yeah, Bengals defense hasn't shown anything impressive, so there is an opportunity for this game to turn into a shootout.
Right.
I saw them kind of put emphasis on getting the ball downfield, which was really nice to see because I think a lot of people have doubted that Big Ben even had ability to get the ball downfield anymore. And again, clearly he at least shut those people up for the time being because he was throwing great balls downfield. And he was giving guys like Claypool an opportunity to make a play, and that's all we've been asking for. So,
exactly.
And you got to expect that with those key defensive guys back, it's not going to be, cannot stop anybody like they did last week. They've been a bend don't break defense, and their key is kind of stopping red zones and getting field goals. So it's going to be tough with Cincinnati's offense. I mean, everything has been clicking for Cincinnati. Joe Mixon continues to just be really good. We know Joe Burrow's good. They have the receivers, so the defense is definitely going to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, on paper, the Bengals are better in every category. So they do. The Steelers definitely have their work cut out for them. One thing that might be a little bit nice for them to know is Jamar Chase is fewer than 50 receiving yards in 3 straight games now. So maybe teams are understanding that this guy can just extend the field like crazy, and they're putting zone over the top.
Yeah,
seems to be working. But unfortunately, they're still winning these games.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough. They have 30 points. The Bengals have scored 30 or more points in 4 of their last 5 games. So yeah, it's gonna come down to Big Ben's gonna have to score like 4 touchdowns to win this game.
Yeah, I expect a high-scoring affair, right? They got the over-under at 45, and I think that over seems really, really nice. Unless the Steelers' offense doesn't show up. I mean, it's just hard to believe that there's not going to be scoring in this game. So I don't know. I kind of like that over. I almost kind of like Pittsburgh at plus 3.5 as well.
Okay, yeah. It's tough. We're at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But it's a divisional
game. Divisional game, and both teams pretty much record-wise, aside from the tie, are equal, right? So this is a very big pivotal point. And the Bengals are like this year's young team that's up and coming that still has flaws, but they show flashes that they could be a possible franchise to be reckoned with for the next 3-4 years.
Yep.
But this is the year that we've already seen their inexperience come to play at times. Steelers are just, again, they have Big Ben. They have a lot of more veteran guys that have been there before. In a big pivotal game, I'm going to take the Steelers on the road. Plus 3.5.
You might as well just take the money line. Plus 165.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. So I do like the Steelers here, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens. The next game, the Buccaneers are traveling to the Colts. An intriguing matchup. Both teams pretty damn good. Buccaneers coming in at 7-3. The Colts are 6-5 after racking up 4 or 5 straight wins. Buccaneers on the road in Indy are favored 3 points, and over-under is 53. Jonathan Taylor, has a chance. You'd mentioned earlier.
Yeah, to break an all-time record. So if he scores over 100 yards and scores a touchdown, like that's nobody's ever done that before.
Most consecutive times doing that ever.
Getting 100 and a touchdown.
Yeah,
for this many games in a row. I think he's done it for 8 games, right?
Yeah.
This would be the 9th
That's
game.
impressive.
Yeah.
And that'd be insane. But look, that's funny how everything works out, right? Because the Buccaneers run stuffing is probably one of the best run stuffing defenses we've seen this decade. So it's a tough challenge, but I mean, at this point, like I would probably take the over on this for him to get that done. I don't know. I mean, their game plan. The Buccaneers aren't a dumb team. You know, they're a Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah.
They probably understand. Let's make Wentz beat us, right? Like that should be the game plan. But there's not enough love given to this offensive line.
They're incredible.
Like we understand, like all the flashy stuff from fantasy football and stuff. You focus on Jonathan Taylor, but I've seen moments where Jonathan Taylor goes untouched for 7-8 yards, right? So like they're doing their job. And if Colts are at home managing the ball well, like taking the lead like they did against the Bills, like this is a very, very hard to beat team. If the ball's on their favor and they're managing the clock well, keeping Tom Brady off the field is the go-to goal here for them. And there's no Antonio Brown still. Mike Williams showed up on the injury report with the
Evans.
back.
Mike Evans. Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of weird things that could work in the Colts' favor right now.
Yeah, I still like the Buccaneers' chances because to me this is a Super Bowl team, and with the going into the game, I'm sure they're going to plan for Jonathan Taylor to stop Jonathan Taylor and let Carson Wentz beat the Buccaneers instead of Jonathan Taylor. So I like the Buccaneers' chances here. But like you said, it's going to be a close game, or it's going to be a tough matchup for both teams. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
fun to watch.
Like we said, it was Jonathan Taylor's going up against the Bills. Run defense last week didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
This week the Buccaneers are allowing only 78.5 yards a game on the ground. So Taylor's going to have to outperform the expectations of that defense in order to hit that record. And I think outperforming that or getting 100 yards and a touchdown equates to me a Buccaneers or a Colts victory, right? So I think those things are going to go hand in hand because, like you said, if he has success running, which he has, which the offensive line and the way they scheme their zone running scheme is really, really nice. If they control the clock, then that's everything because the Buccaneers struggle at defending the pass, right? The minute we get like a couple of Jonathan Taylor decent runs, it sets up the play action. Michael Pittman's a number 1 receiver.
Dude, I'm not a big fan of Michael Pittman anymore. He has like 4 good games out of like 10 good games now, and the not good games are really bad. They're like 2 points, 4 points. So I don't know what they're doing there. They're just enjoying this running so much that they don't have to throw. I get that. But yeah, I mean, he's a good receiver. But as far as fantasy points are considered, I know that's not what we're talking about right now, but as far as fantasy points are considered, we're looking at probably sitting Pittman because like last game was supposed to be Pittman's game, right? Like you're playing the Bills, you're going to have to catch up. None of that happened. We'll see how like the Buccaneers roll because if the Colts are now beating teams at will on the run, then I don't even know if you can start Michael Pittman anymore.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, they're going hand in hand. Last week's Jonathan Taylor performance was historic, right? Like historic. And so Wentz only had 106 yards throwing because he just didn't need to throw the ball. So not a lot of yards to go around. But you're right. Since Taylor has, as good as he's been all year, the last couple of weeks or whatever that he's transcended how good he's been, they just haven't had to throw the ball.
Yeah.
It's been insane. And we expected that last week that they would because Buffalo, we thought was going to win or they're going to be winning and it was going to cause trouble to the Colts. But, yeah, I don't know. To me, I like his talent is still too good that if they have to throw the ball, there's no reason they wouldn't look for him. It's just that they haven't been having to throw the ball.
Yeah.
But the Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. There's always that fear factor in the back of my mind with the Buccaneers or any team that Tom Brady plays on, even though he's not playing defense.
I mean, here's another reason why you should be fearful. Tom Brady's 8-0 against the Colts since 2020. Sorry, since 2010.
Jeez, he's been owning Peyton Manning
Yeah.
for a decade.
Pretty much.
Yeah, 2010, yeah.
And then Andrew Luck for a little while. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still like Pittman. I think Pittman actually will have a good game this week.
I hope so because it hasn't been that case all season long.
Because they won't be able to run the ball and they have to kind of throw it.
It's not that they won't be able to run the ball, but after a running back is coming off 185 yards and 5 touchdowns, you think a team that's Super Bowl caliber is like, oh shit, okay,
let's game plan
for this. Not game plans don't always work, right? You can game plan all you want, and he could still be good. They can be better, but if their emphasis in like all of their emphasis is against the run, then I have to imagine play action, Wentz using his feet, extending plays, that's going to inevitably lead to the leaky secondary for the Buccaneers giving up big plays.
Some screen passes.
So, like, this is exactly what I said last week, right? And it didn't work out, but I expected it to work out this week. I like like you mentioned, there's no way you can just allow Jonathan Taylor to just run all over the league. That's just not possible. And if there's one team that can stop him, it's the Buccaneers. So yeah, I expect like at least one touchdown from Pittman, but I'm also not going to be like, super
He's not a must start or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Flex start, definitely. Sure. Wide receiver 2, maybe. Yeah, why not? I'm going to be starting him because like that's that hope, right? He's so good. Mm-hmm. I just watch him every time. He mosses people like there's no tomorrow. Like just that, knowing that, I'm going to start him regardless of these bad weeks I've been getting. I'm like, you know what?
And the bad weeks are just a product of volume, right? It's not because he's bad. At least like he's not like openly dropping passes.
Right,
like,
no,
none of that, right? So, it's going to be a good game. The Colts have creeped into like actual contenders, and they're a legitimate force and a threat. And so the Buccaneers have struggled recently in a couple of weeks. So just coming off that victory, let's see what happens here. The next game on the board, the Carolina Panthers at 5-6, teeter-tottering that playoff borderline there. They're traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins, who are 4-7. Carolina's favored on the road by 2.5 points, over under 42. My instant thing seeing that is I like Carolina 2.5.
Yeah, I like Miami.
You do?
I do like Miami.
Why do you like Miami?
I think the offense is kind of clicking a little bit with Tua and Gesicki and Waddle, and even Myles Gaskin coming out here had a pretty good performance last week. I think that the Dolphins' defense isn't that great, but I think they should be able to stop Cam Newton, who had less than 200 yards last week. And until I see some more throws from Cam Newton that allow me to say that he can win the game for them, I'm gonna pick Miami.
So the reason Miami could win this game is because they're blitzing on 40% of their dropbacks, which is the only defense to do that high. That's usually the Ravens' game plan, right? And we've seen how like dominant Ravens are like stopping the run. And what do the Panthers do? All they do is run the ball, right? It's either the quarterback running it or the running back running it. Mm-hmm. If you're blitzing on 40% of the passes, you're forcing Newton to throw, and we have yet to see a game where Newton can throw to win the game, right? So I'm excited to see this game because we'll finally see if the Panthers are going to be like a contender, because if they can beat a team that's focusing on stopping what they do best, and if they can overcome that, then they're back on the scary wagon. Because right now as a 5-6, and if you get beat by the Dolphins, knowing what they're going to do, then you're back to like, oh God, like what are the Panthers doing?
Yeah, I think the Panthers defense is legit. I think last week was a whole Ron Rivera thing, so there's an added element that you can't really, quantify, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so tough game last week, but Cam still had 189. He only incompleted 6 passes through 2 touchdowns, and that's with McCaffrey only getting 10 carries. So I'm expecting all of that to uptick, and I just think the Dolphins defense, they're the reason the Ravens and the Dolphins, right? The reason the Ravens this year are historically blitzing so much is because they have to, because if they don't get pressure, their secondary is incredibly awful this year. We've seen so many deep passes given up by them, notably that game against the Bengals where they just threw bombs on bombs on bombs, right? Even the Colts. And so that's why they're blitzing. And the same thing can be said with the Dolphins. Xavier Howard's kind of not had as good of a year. And so their secondary, which was expected to be good, hasn't been as good. So they're trying to compensate for that by blitzing a lot, right? So they don't give the quarterback enough time. The way I'm envisioning a game plan for something like that is you're putting guys like Christian McCaffrey now in the slot as a receiver, where if they're blitzing everybody's getting man-to-man, one-on-one single coverage, right? And if that's the case, I'm just visually conceptualizing like screen or like slants and ins to like DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, and the Dolphins defense hasn't really been good.
Yeah, so they're actually the worst. They're 32nd still after those 2 good games. They're still 32nd in the league. And
the Panthers defense, to me, albeit they've had a couple of wrinkles here and there, they're a good defense.
They're still second in the league.
And Tua doesn't scare me. Like he's winning games with like very like dinky-dunky, methodical, across the middle and then run after the catch. So it's not like he's throwing bombs. Even when he's throwing bombs, they're super underthrown, but the guy's wide open, so he catches the touchdown anyways. So I'm trying to really ride hard on the Panthers because I can vision what they could possibly become. Yeah. But you're right. If they can't beat the Dolphins, then everything I'm visioning is all fake news. So that's just kind of what I'm seeing. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, if we were always all right in predicting what we did, then this job would be easy as shit. So
I'd be making a lot of money.
Oh, 100%. Just bet on everything. Yeah. It's going to be a good, intriguing matchup. If the Panthers win, they'll get back to 500 and be right back in the playoff contention. Next game on the board, another intriguing matchup. The Titans, after that really, really ugly loss to the Texans, they're 8-3. They're traveling to Foxborough to take on the Patriots that nobody wants to play right now, who are 7-4, sitting atop their division. They're 7-point favorites at home against the Titans, over under 43.5. Titans injuries continue to pile up. Yeah.
The Titans are screwed.
How are they going to pull out a victory here?
The Titans are screwed. If I had a survivor pick, I'm picking the Patriots. The Titans don't have any weapons. They have 0 weapons. The Patriots are allowing 10 points per game since week 7. Like, there's a dynamic, strong, if not the best defense in the league right now, going against the weakest team, in my opinion. I feel like the Jets have better weapons than the Titans do right now. Honestly, like
I mean, there's nobody on the Titans.
There's really nobody, and now everybody's out.
Yeah.
You know, they're using it's Tannehill has to step up. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't know. We'll see what Tannehill can do, but I don't know how they're gonna do it.
So we know that the Patriots like to run the ball.
Yeah.
And Titans are actually 4th in the league in run defense.
Yeah.
Allowing 97.2 yards per game. And 7th in 4-point yards per play. So it's a good matchup. You know, we'll get to see how good are these Patriots defense when you're playing against a run defense that's fourth in the league. So there's that matchup to look out for. That could potentially make Mac Jones have to throw the ball more.
Yeah.
And
which I don't think he has a problem doing.
Yeah, he's proven that he could definitely win the game as well. You know, the 3 against the Cowboys and other performances where he had 3 touchdowns in a game. So yeah, you know, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Mac Jones being able to win the game after the run defenses may be stopped.
And sometimes you also have to think about, like, you know, when you have good run defense with a good offense, like something's got to go, right? Someone's got to go. Like, we can't just give the favor to the run defense. Like, you know, because if I were to decide right now, the Patriots would be top 3 in running right now. Right?
Yeah.
Just like on how they work their offense.
Right.
Like, they're really good at that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and we looked last week, or you know, the Saints. Like, they have a really good defense, but we've seen so many times that defense just get dump trucked, right? So yeah, the Titans. It's just the defense may make these, you know, run stopping plays and whatnot, and I do expect Mac Jones to, you know, throw for like 2 touchdowns this game, but I don't think that's the side of the field that is going to be the deal breaker here. I think it's the other side of the field. I think the Patriots are just not going to allow the Titans to move the ball, right? And then
they have nobody.
And then this could be a Nick Folk 9 field goal to 0 game. You know, it could be one of those games. I just don't envision the Titans scoring points.
The Titans struggled to move the ball against the Texans last week, right? And they had A.J. Brown.
Right.
Now they have no A.J. Brown. They still have no Julio. Obviously, Derrick Henry's out. Like, their best receiver is Westbrook Akine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Who could have a good game.
Sure, fantasy-wise. But how much is his good game going to move the needle in terms of a victory?
No, and it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
It's at Patriots.
It's at Foxborough.
This is a nightmare.
It's a very, very tough matchup for the Titans. I'm by no means saying that the Titans are going to come win this game, but if they do, I mean, it's going to have to be stopping the run.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Last week was the same. I said the same thing about Mac Jones because I was like, oh, let's see if they can, you know, force Mac Jones to throw it. And I'm still not necessarily completely bought in because he's a rookie. And they did exactly that. And
he's
threw everything.
He's not playing like an MVP caliber by any means, but he's playing like a really good rookie.
Oh, 100%.
Like, he has 14 touchdowns, but he also has 8 picks, right? So, like, but like by no means he's like coming out there and just slanging it in.
No.
But he's getting the job done. For when you have a good defense and you have a good run game, then the quarterback really doesn't have to be that good if you really think about it.
No,
they don't really have to.
They just cannot make mistakes.
Right.
They can't put their team in shitty situations by making dumb mistakes.
Right. Like right now, he has every numerical number he's better than Tannehill in. Completion percentage is better. You know, touchdowns, he's got more touchdowns. He's got less interceptions. He's got a better passer rating.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't understand how the Titans are going to win this game. I have no explanation on how the Titans are going to win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Their offense, mustering up anything is going to be very difficult. But that's why it's the NFL and anything can happen. Next game on the board, divisional matchup in the NFC East. The Eagles are 5-6, traveling to New York to take on the G-Men, who are 3-7. Eagles on the road, favored by 3.5. Over under 45.5. Jason Garrett is fired. Giants offense looked like shit last week, so it made sense.
Saquon's healthy and he still sucks.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney and Shepard are back to not playing probably. Where does it end?
It doesn't end this week. So the Giants are 3-9 against the Eagles since 2018. They're not winning this game. This is my survivor pick.
Yeah.
Here's a fun little stat. So the last 4 games of last year, Jalen Hurts numbers compared to the last 4 games of Lamar Jackson's numbers, Jalen Hurts is better in almost every category. The total amount of games, first 16 games or so that Lamar Jackson's played versus the first 16 games Jalen Hurts has played, Jalen Hurts is pretty much better in every single category.
Damn.
The year after these 16 games was their MVP winning season. So I don't know. Just looking at it from a number of games perspective, Jalen Hurts is about to go off for the next couple of games. And having a team like the Giants coming up, this is going to be like, I feel bad for the Giants. And now that they have established a run game, their defense is playing pretty well. This is like kind of like a Patriots situation, but in a different way. I just don't know how the Giants are going to win this game. What do they have to do?
Yeah, I don't know how the Giants win this game, but the Eagles, winning 2 games back to back, seem to have completely changed their offense, running the ball more. Everything is just kind of clicking for the Eagles, and I don't see any way that the Giants actually come out. No, Jason Garrett got fired right before Thanksgiving, not like Matt Nagy. Yeah. He was like, they were like, no,
they didn't care.
We're
not thankful for you, Garrett.
No.
See ya.
You're out of here. And so,
who did they lose to right before the firing?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
30-10.
Yeah. That's right.
So, I've got Eagles in this game. I honestly just don't see how the Giants come out on top in this game.
The only way on the other side I could see it, 1, divisional game, 2, Jason Garrett firing is actually a blessing. It opens up their offense because Jason Garrett's like the king of limiting offenses.
That's true.
So it's almost like now they're 3-7. They lost their offensive coordinator. They're opening up. I would imagine, right? They're opening things up because, again, Jason Garrett was limiting them. And divisional games are tough. New York's tough. And we've seen, the Eagles lost 2 weeks ago to the Chargers, right? Yeah. The Chargers don't have a great defense. So Eagles have been scary as shit the last 2 weeks. The game against the Saints, they dominated 40 points. But divisional games, everything gets thrown out the window. Yeah. So I don't know.
Here's a little stat to like kind of not worry about the divisional thing. So I just mentioned the Eagles are 9-3 versus the Giants and Washington since 2018. I forgot to mention that part. But the Giants are 2-12 versus the Eagles since 2014.
Damn.
That's the worst record against any opponent in that span. So like they literally can't beat the Eagles. Yeah. There's something going on. They just can't beat them.
And with the Cowboys losing, this division has just kind of opened up for the Eagles.
Yeah.
And they have so much more to prove and forget the stats and all that. I think the Eagles just need to come out and win this game just to get the division, and they have a little bit more going for them in that standpoint.
Yeah.
That I think is going to make it tough.
They do have more to play for. Absolutely.
Right.
They've one more win. They're back at 6-6, and they're right back in it. They're a game and a half from the number one seed,
right,
or against the Eagles or the Cowboys. Sorry. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. It could go either way. It makes sense. Obviously, the Eagles are favored. They're a better team.
How much are they favored by?
3.5.
Okay.
So we'll see. 45.5 over under. Should be a good game. Next game on the board, the Falcons are traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Jaguars are 2-8. Falcons are coming in 4-6, favored by 2, over under 46. What's the excitement for this game?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Matt Ryan.
James Robinson.
Yeah?
Yeah, James Robinson.
That's about it. And Cordell Patterson might play. I'm not sure. They haven't given us a confirmation, but I think he's going to play.
Yeah, this is going to be my survivor pick. And so I'm going to pick the Falcons. And I am betting that we see the Falcons that we have seen maybe 4 out of 10 times, which is the 4 games that they won.
Yeah.
Wow. They haven't scored a touchdown in about 15 days.
In 52 weeks. Yeah. Just over 2 weeks. I like the matchup against the Jaguars. If it's any other team, I'm not picking the Falcons. But they've been so inconsistent, but they've shown signs that they could score. They've got Cordell Patterson, they've got Kyle Pitts, and
that's it.
That's really
it. And that's their whole offense.
That's their offense.
No, but you're right. So that's not a bad pick because Jaguars are the second worst team as far as scoring points goes. Jaguars have scored fewer than 20 points in 7 games versus the Lions was like 10 games, right? So they're the second. They're the second worst team as far as scoring points goes. And then Atlanta's not near them. They're a little bit higher. They score a little bit more points than them. And Matt Ryan is 3-0 against the Jaguars. These stats are a little weird because you never know what happens over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Trevor Lawrence has been passing sub 75% in 6 games this season, which is the most in the NFL. So he's technically the worst passer in the NFL that has been able to start this whole time. So a lot of things point towards the Falcons. It's just such a just 2 really bad teams, and they could both just have turnovers, and it could be anybody's game, in my opinion. But if you were to look at it from right now, without any further information, who could win this game? Yeah, the Falcons have 2 more wins than the Jaguars, so Falcons have to be a better team, right?
Yeah, 3 of the Falcons' 4 wins have come on the road as well. So take that for what you will. Should be good. Yeah, James Robinson should be having a good day. Patterson, if he's back, it's nice to see him healthy. Pitts actually is returning to. So there's a story. Kyle Pitts' last trip to Jacksonville ended in painful fashion. He was knocked out of Florida's game against rival Georgia on a vicious hit a little more than a year ago. He suffered a concussion, helmet twisted sideways, and like the face mask fractured his septum.
Oh, wow.
And so he had surgery, missed 2 games, and he considered opting out the rest of the season. He ended up playing 3 more games and then became pro. So this is his first trip back to Jacksonville since that last incident.
You know why this is more significant than other places?
Why?
Because when you step out of the plane when you go to Florida, you just know you're in Florida because of the humidity. It's just like it's a whole different attitude once you step out of the plane. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like I just know I'm like, oh, and all these memories just come flashing back. So hopefully that's not the case for Pitts, because it does change a lot when you know you're somewhere that you just had like this traumatic thing happen to.
Is it going to be one of those where it affects him negatively and he's not able to perform, or he rises above it and has a great game?
Yeah, like if he's running down the middle, right? Yep. And he's about to catch a pass, and you're like, fuck, I almost died here last time.
Yep.
So we don't know.
So we'll see. Some random information that could have implications on the game. The Jets, the next game on the board, back-to-back shitty games. Jets against Texans. Jets traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. Both teams 2-8. Houston at home is probably the only game they're favored by 2.5, over under 44.5. Story of this game is Jets are expecting Zach Wilson to return and start at quarterback with, Mike White hurt and Joe Flacco hurt? Somebody COVID, or are they both hurt?
Flacco is hurt. And then Mike White is hurt as well.
Okay, so both injuries. So the guy who was starting got hurt. Other people came in. Now both the other guys got hurt. This guy's healthy now, and now he's right back in. Yeah. The quarterback carousel continues.
Yeah, but it looks like it's going to be Zach Wilson, even though he's a game-time decision.
He's playing.
He should play.
He should play. Man, 2-8 teams playing. But I'm going to side with the Texans. I think the Texans with Tyrod Taylor are completely different than with any other quarterback that they have had. I've liked Tyrod Taylor since week 1. He extends the play by being able to do it with his run, and he can throw the ball fairly well too. The Jets defense not so great either. Texans coming out of a win against the Titans. I like the Texans' chances.
Yeah, the Jets have actually gotten worse on defense. Remember how we used to be like, oh, Jets aren't so bad.
They're not so bad.
But now they're 30th. So they've just tanked completely on defense. Yeah. But their passing has improved. They're actually 12th in the league in passing because of Elijah Moore. Yeah. Right? So they can actually make plays. Can the Texans make plays? Having Tyrod helps quite a bit. So I'm excited to see which one's actually the second worst team in the league, because whoever is the loser is going to get that title.
Yeah.
Jets are 0-5 on the road this year. So
we haven't seen Zach Wilson do anything.
Yeah.
He's been the worst of their 3 quarterbacks.
I mean, I just hope for just from NFL standpoint, I hope he does well, because come on, the second overall pick, you can't be playing this bad against Texans.
And other quarterbacks are having more success running this offense. That's a really bad look.
Flacco, if you can play like that, we'll accept that.
Yep,
we'll accept that.
Yeah. So 2.5 points.
And then we also need to talk about some of those players that you may start. Ty Johnson versus
Coleman.
Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, that's a serious debate going on right now, because it is a bad team they face, right? Yeah. Texans defense isn't all that hot. So one of those guys, whoever gets the majority of the carries, will probably have a decent fantasy day. So
I'm always siding with the guy. If it's completely split, I'm always going to side with the guy that has more chances to get catches, right? PPR, half-point PPR naturally.
Coleman.
And to me, I think that's Ty Johnson.
It is Ty Johnson, but that's because Coleman's historically caught passes too.
Yeah, he has.
Like when he played for the Falcons, he caught a lot of passes. But he hasn't been used that way because they have so many running backs, right? So it's like we actually don't know this, but it could give somebody a W if you start the right running back, right? It's not like it's a situation where the Jets have this new opportunity for running backs, but they're playing a solid defense. Like even then, you're like, God, I might have to start one of these guys. I don't want to. And right now, it's the same thing. They have an easy ass defense, but we're still like, I might have to start one of these guys, but I don't really have to. But whoever you do end up starting will give you points. It's the Texans.
Yeah, this is one of those coin tosses right now. Hopefully between now and before kickoff on Sunday, there's any sort of sliver of indication on which way they're leaning. Yeah. Because, right now, honestly, like anybody's guess is as good as ours. There's no way to know who's going to get the big. Like, you're right. Both of them can catch passes. Ty Johnson has been the backup all season, but Tevin Coleman's been hurt, and now he's back. He's getting used here and there. Yeah. So I don't know. To me, God, I avoid the situation altogether just because you could just make the wrong choice.
Yeah, no, for sure. But some people don't have that opportunity, right? Like a 14-man league or a 12-man league.
Yeah.
Here's just one thing, though. I think this is what my prediction for this running back situation is. I think they're going to try to pound it with Coleman because Ty Johnson's been available this whole time. They haven't used him as a pounder. Right. So there's like a reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's a McNichols kind of thing, like one of those J.D. McKissick kind of situations. They're just not built to run up the middle. Coleman has proved in the past he can do that. So I expect them to start off with some Colemaning. And then if the game script goes the other way, then I expect Coleman to just be eliminated from the game. And they're like, okay, let's just bring Ty Johnson and give him 9 passes.
Coleman-y.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, last week against the Dolphins, Tevin Coleman, after the Carter injury, had 5 carries for 16. Ty Johnson only saw 1 carry, and they both only saw 1 target and 1 catch. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, as soon as he got hurt, the first guy to get all the carries was Tevin Coleman. So, I mean, yeah, if you're leaning, I guess maybe.
These are desperate situations, so like we're making desperate calls.
Yeah.
But if you really are this desperate, then in my opinion, just roll the dice with Tevin Coleman and just hopefully the Jets win the game. If the Jets lose the game, then you made the wrong decision because then you should have started Ty. So
and in spite of Zach Wilson, because we haven't seen much camaraderie between him and Elijah Moore, you're still starting Elijah Moore this week.
Yeah, you can't. He's been the number one wide receiver in the last 4 games. He's number one wide receiver,
and he's good. He's not. It's not just situational opportunity.
Yeah.
He's a really good football player.
Yep.
So hopefully you hope Zach Wilson can get him the ball against the fucking
Texans,
bro.
Please.
At that point, you're like your value is dropping just because you're also making other players around you's value drop too, and that's horrible.
And here's another fun fact we need to kind of hear: the Texans have either scored more than 21 points or less than 10 points in each game this season.
Wow!
So they don't do any.
There's no in between.
There's no in between.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So if you use these statistics against teams like we mentioned, like the Lions, who haven't scored more than 21 points, that's such a nice little roll the dice.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Lions.
Yeah,
I'll take the Lions.
100%. Should be a good one. Again, back-to-back games where it's probably the 4 of the 5 worst teams in the league, but nonetheless, everybody's playing football.
That was fun. We just talked about a bunch of shitty teams.
Yeah. The Chargers, the next game on the board, they're traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. Chargers are now 6-4. Denver coming in at 5-5. Chargers favored on the road in Mile High by 2.5 points. Over under 47.5. This is the first game in the 3:00 slate of games. Both teams, Chargers actually coming off that crazy game against the Pittsburgh Steelers where they came away victorious. Broncos got destroyed by Philly last week. So what are you guys seeing here in terms of how this game will go?
Man, the Broncos came out and beat the Cowboys, and you're like, oh, okay. This team is kind of looking.
Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah, dude. We're looking good. And then they lose 2 straight after that. And so it's been kind of like, okay, maybe the Broncos they just got lucky that last game. So, all signs are kind of pointing towards the Chargers. They're 2.5-point favorites. But the one thing to note is that Chargers defense sucks.
Yeah.
Specifically their rushing defense.
Oh, God.
32nd in the NFL. And what do the Broncos like to do?
To run the ball.
They like to run the ball a lot. So, I mean, that seems like the recipe for them to be able to win the game. That's just something to think about. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they're giving up 145 yards a game on the ground. They're giving up 20. They give up 26.5 points a game, and they only score 26 points a game, right? So as high flying and powerful as their offense can be at times, they can't separate because they just continue to let the other team score as well.
Yeah. So when the Broncos win, they win with emphasis. When they lose when they're on the other side of that emphasis. So the Broncos have allowed a league low 10.4 points per game in 5 wins this season. So if they're going to win, they're going to shut them out.
Yeah, they just shut down
So
the
it's like it's one of those situations. And there's a lot of other things pointing towards that could possibly happening. So the Broncos have won 14 of their last 19 games against the Chargers. So it's one of those situations where we have your number.
Yeah.
The Chargers have always historically been destroyed by the Broncos. But in that time, there has been a little sleeper situation. Mike Williams pretty much has a good game every time he faces the Broncos. He averages about 86 receiving yards against the Broncos since 2019.
Do I start that guy?
So historically, as far as the last 4 games, that's still a small sample size.
Would you start him?
I don't know, but all I know is
you
should expect 80 yards.
I just need somebody to tell me to start him so I can start him.
I'm not going to do that. You have too many good receivers. Mike Williams is definitely the worst one out of those 4, right?
Yeah. I also have Claypool, who's kind of creeping up there.
Yeah.
Watch out for Chase.
So I think it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
It depends on Evans' injury. Evans and Metcalf were on the injury report randomly questionable.
Yeah, Metcalf has been on the injury report.
Yeah, he's just like non-participating every
week.
practice. So, but yeah, I don't know. I really like offense in this game. I think the Chargers will score, right? The Broncos can give up points. They gave up 34 to Vegas. They gave up 30 to Philly, right? Teams that Philly's offense has been high-powered recently with the run game, but Vegas is hit or miss, right? So the Broncos can be exploited is kind of the name of that game. And the Chargers offense, after dropping 41 last week, I don't know. I just kind of want to see them continue to get rolling because I don't know. I have
'Cause you
Herbert.
have 'em.
I have Herbert and
Fantasy.
Mike Williams, so
Yeah.
I want success. But you never know. They're 3-1 on the road this year, so most of their wins and their successes coming on the road. They actually struggle at home. So take that for what you will. And Denver's only 2-3 at home, so they're actually struggling at home. So I don't know, but 2.5 points. You always when it's like 5-5, 6-4 on paper, pretty even keeled. You're getting the home team as a dog, especially in Mile High, which has its own aura and you know the whole shit with Mile High. I kind of like Denver at home.
Yeah. I mean,
Chargers are favored?
Yeah, 2.5.
Wow, I would not favor the Chargers in this game.
Yeah.
Especially after everything I just said.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. They can just flip the switch any game. I guess they're going with the flip switch game.
Yeah.
turnovers could be a thing too. Chargers defense, actually, ESPN has them as the 5th best pass defense.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
because
their
they
pass
allow the
defense,
runs.
yeah,
They're a bend don't break
they're
defense.
they're like, we'll let you run 20
Right.
yards every play,
Yeah.
and we just won't let you throw.
So if Teddy's not accurate, which I would probably take the bet that Teddy will be accurate because he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, right? So if he's not accurate, there's some turnovers, and I could see the Chargers also coming out on top too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough. I don't like the bet either side.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough way to read.
Yeah.
I can't gauge which way this is going to go. It's because the Chargers every year have been so like feast or famine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when we played the Bears, right? Or like when I don't know. The Chargers just have not shown up like ever.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to be like, this is the year, you know. And they're also 6-4. So now maybe things are changing. But then when they lose so bad.
Yeah,
When they
you're
win,
like,
they
what
win
the
so
hell?
good. So it's
Yep.
like, I'm staying the hell
Make
away
up
from
your
this.
mind.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. But yeah, 6-4, 5-5. Big game for both teams. Next game on the board, another great matchup. The Rams are traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Packers 8-3, Rams 7-3. Rams on the road, favored by 1 point in Green Bay. Over under 47. Rodgers, COVID's gonna play.
Oh man.
COVID's in, right?
COVID, you mean?
COVID. What did I just say? COVID?
Yeah.
That was dumb. I just said what it was. Wow. In my head, I thought I was doing what I wasn't doing.
You're like being creative.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I just said exactly. Yeah, so Tovid is going to play at home, and he's a dog.
damn.
Underdog.
Wow.
Tovid and underdog at home.
Wow.
I would want to look into some
Yeah.
numbers, seeing the last time
Yeah.
Green Bay is
Underdog
an underdog at home with
Yeah.
Rodgers healthy.
Wow.
He has a fracture.
Yeah, it's not a big deal though. It's just it's a pinky toe. Like you don't really. It's just for balance. Like I could play with a fractured toe.
Is it pinky? I thought it was big toe.
That's the thing. It's like it's so mysterious.
Yeah.
But on my phones, when I get the alerts, it said pinky toe.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But then when he's showing the toe.
Yeah, he's like
on
showing at
the
his.
camera.
Yeah.
Let me take my no, I'm kidding. But he's like pointing towards the big toe.
Yeah.
Because that's where usually the COVID toe happens in like the bigger toes.
Yeah.
It can happen in any of the toes, but it usually happens in the bigger toes. So when he's pointing it out, maybe he's joking about it. Like the whole thing is so sketch, bro. The whole thing is so sketch. But as far as I know, it's a fractured pinky toe, which it's just add extra padding on that side and just fucking tough it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
No.
Suck it up, Raj.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that the Rams are favored when the Rams haven't really proven that they're a team that could beat. Which at one point the Packers were the best team in the NFL when they beat the Cardinals. I mean, it would arguably the best team in the NFC at least.
Yeah.
So to see the Rams are favored, that's kind of
Yeah.
shocking
This
to me.
is very.
The Rams are coming off back-to-back losses at
Yeah.
San Francisco, where
Yeah.
they got throttled, and then the Titans beat them at home.
Yeah, well, here's another fun fact why I think this is absolutely ridiculous. Matthew Stafford is 0-16 in his career versus teams that entered the game 5 or more games over 500. So remember like how some quarterbacks that I'm not going to name can't beat good teams? Well, this guy actually can't beat good teams. He's 0-16.
Yeah.
I have no trust in the Rams. Like there's so much hype around this team. I've seen Matthew Stafford my whole life, and I know what he's capable of, and I know when he faces Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to beat him. So I'm just going to go on.
What do we think about
record.
the Adams and Ramsey matchup?
That's the thing.
It's gonna be a good one. I mean, that's obviously
Yeah.
a big deciding factor
Yeah.
in this game and the way this game is gonna go. You argue Devontae Adams is matchup proof. Obviously, he's like literally one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the league.
Right.
And Jalen Ramsey has not 100% shadowed everybody that he's like.
DK Metcalf owned him.
That's what I'm saying. And he doesn't even guard it. He hadn't even been guarding the best player the entire game in all the games he's played, right? It seems like he's not shadowing them everywhere as far as what I've seen. So I don't know that that's going to be as big of a factor as it's led on to be. If Bakhtiari's back this week, I don't know if he is or not. I'd have to double check, but that's going to incredibly improve the offensive line for guys like Aaron Donald and stuff like that. So give me the Packers at home.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. McVay said that he expects to see a lot of OBJ.
He did say that. I'm actually starting him in my flex in one of the leagues only because he said that.
Yeah, he said that about Woods, and Woods got a touchdown.
Yeah, he hasn't been lying.
He hasn't been lying.
The man doesn't lie.
OBJ better catch them passes though.
Yeah, he better not drop them.
Dropping everything.
Yeah, here's some more stats. I just love to shit on Stafford. So he's 0-16 in his career versus good teams, right?
Yeah.
And then Aaron Rodgers is 12-4 versus Stafford in his career. That's tied for the third best winning percentage by one starting quarterback over another quarterback since 1950.
Damn.
So in the history of the NFL, basically.
That's
so like,
insane.
I don't know how Stafford's gonna beat the Rodgers. The Rodgers is.
There's two Rodgers in there, so that works.
That's true.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Tight end Rodgers.
Okay, and I was also just checking on Jair Alexander, but he's not supposed to be back or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, shit, like you said, the last time they talked about, giving a guy the ball, he had his best week yet, so you'd hope they can get OBJ involved. You hope he has something left in the tank, and he's a big enough, add on to that team with the loss of Robert Woods, but shit, we just continue to believe in this hype of OBJ, and he's done nothing for now a couple of years, so it's just like,
this is the last straw.
Yeah, honestly, like if you can't succeed against a high-powered offense like the Rams, where like they're designing receivers to be running 10 yards open pretty much every play, then you're nobody. You suck. So as much as I believe the Packers would probably win this game, I want them to lose so badly. 100%. I want them to lose so badly because there's a new sheriff in town. But we'll talk about that here shortly, probably in like 15 seconds. Yeah. I mean, again, it's going to be a good game. One of the best games on the board, only a 1-point spread. Again, you're getting Green Bay. You're getting Rodgers-led Packers team at home as underdogs with one of the best records in the league. So make it make sense, Vegas. I'm taking the Packers. Next game on the board. You were talking about the new sheriff in town.
Yeah. Captain
Kirk led the Minnesota Vikings. They're traveling to the 49ers, the team that Captain Kirk was rumored to go to before he signed with the Vikings. They are both 5-5. San Francisco coming off some crazy victories. They're favored by 3, over under 49. God, this game scares the shit out of me.
It's so scary because there are no defensive linemen to stop the most scariest rushing team in the NFL. So this is gonna be terrifying. It's got to be high scoring, right? Like, how would this game not be high scoring?
We have to score. Our offense is gonna have to be the reason we win, as always. Yeah, like you said, Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Pierce, both defensive tackles out. Danielle Hunter out. Everson Griffin out.
Their backups also out.
Yeah, so we are so thin at the defensive line position. And the 49ers do nothing but scheme the run.
People over.
Run. They don't care who's running back there. They run.
Kittle's going to pancake like 4 people.
Yeah, oh my God. So it's the 3-point spread is just really, really confusing to me because they're the home team. We're traveling to the West Coast. I just have really weird PTSD memories against the 49ers because it reminds me of like so many specific games. Obviously the playoff game after we beat the Saints and then the 49ers just destroyed the shit out of us. Yep. And then I feel like there was one year, the first game of the season, where we were supposed to give the 49ers supposed to be bad. We went to 49ers and just got shit on. Yeah, and then there was another game, was the Josh Freeman game where he randomly started for us against the 49ers.
We threw like 3 or 4
He was really bad. Like he came out of nowhere. We picked him up off the street and he had to start for us. Yeah. And I think that was against the 49ers and they destroyed us. So I have some weird PTSD going to San Francisco and playing this team. And like the quote around the 49ers all year with this podcast is they're weird. They're a weird football team. They love just showing up in weird spots. And right now they have a lot of momentum, especially after destroying the Rams. Yeah. And again, let's not discredit the Vikings. They're coming off 2 really impressive victories. They just beat the Packers, arguably the best team in the NFC, and so their offense seems like they can't be stopped. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this is, to me, on paper, this is going to have to be a shootout, and the offense is just going to have to score more than their team.
Yeah, I feel like both teams are very similar. I mean, they both have 5-5 record, but in terms of like trying to prove that they are better than the record states, it's definitely both of these teams. I feel like the 49ers, they use a more balanced approach of trying to run the ball, consistent Garoppolo play, and then a strong defense. So they're more of like the traditional team, whereas the Vikings, from what we saw last week,
last couple of weeks,
airing the ball out, giving it to their studs like Jefferson and Thielen.
Absolutely.
I feel like when you look at the spread, it's almost like Vegas is not really accounting for all of those defensive injuries that could hurt the Vikings.
Big time.
That's
so
huge.
So on paper, it's like almost like it could be a field goal game, but with those defenses that you guys have just mentioned, it's going to be a very tough matchup.
Dude,
for the
it's
Vikings.
tough. The only way we can win this game is if we start scoring early, right? And then we eliminate their run game, and now they're screwed because we have everybody back as far as our secondary goes, and they're all stars, right? We have good players back, and we have in the middle of the field, forget about it. It's Kendrick's going to just shut everything out down there. They're like those Deebo Samuel slants, even Kittle slants. All of that is going to have an asterisk if Eric Kendricks is guarding either of those guys. But yes, that's the only answer. The answer here is to be aggressive on offense, take the lead early, and then eliminate their run game. That is the only answer. Otherwise, it's going to be like a 41-42 game if they keep running and then we just keep
double team the shit out of Deebo Samuel,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to see any kind of slant Deebo Samuels for 80 yards.
Somebody else beat us.
Yeah, let
Brandon
somebody
Ayuk.
else. Sure,
Sure.
fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Beat
I'll
us,
take it.
beat us, Brandon Ayuk.
I'll take it.
Yeah, prove to me that you're somebody that can actually beat another team. Like, you're not in that category yet. So Deebo Samuel absolutely is. So he needs to be stopped. I don't even care if you're one-on-oneing George Kittle and he catches 10 for 100 yards. Like, that's fine. We just cannot have big Deebo Samuel touchdowns. We cannot give that up. We have to play the bend don't break mentality, but it's going to be tough. Like we said, the odds are stacked against us when the best running team is coming in and facing a team that literally has nobody on the defensive line playing. So I don't know. Take it for what you will. But if the Minnesota Vikings do come away victorious here, they're 6-5 all of a sudden after stringing 3 impressive victories against the Chargers, the Packers, and this would be the 49ers. So we know that they're better than an average 5-5 team. San Francisco's Achilles heel has been at home, though. They're 1-4 at home this year. So their better games are played on the road so far. Could become a factor. So next game.
Yeah, and it's not just like the home games so far. They've lost 12 of their last 15 home games.
Yeah.
Just like over that.
They're just
span.
not playing well. They're just not playing well at home. And so
and then all of our losses have been by 7 points or fewer. Like this is the most amount of one possession losses in the NFL. So we're in all of those games. So like if there's a chance we can be in this game and then use that air it out philosophy, that should equal a win for me. Like that's just what it seems like. You know, if we can stay in the game playing like we did in the past, however many months, and that wasn't even with this new aggressive approach, right? And we stayed inside all the games. If we can just keep staying in these games with this new approach, it's a shoe-in. It's a win.
I'm just holding out hope that this is one of those where the Cardinals traveled to San Francisco like 3 weeks ago with Colt McCoy, and we're like, oh, shit, the 49ers at home, they're going to win. And then Colt McCoy beat the 49ers.
Yeah.
So, and you know how they won? They ran the ball 39 times for 163 yards. That was James Conner's best game. So
Dalvin Cook.
Could be Cook season. Could be cooking and Macklin.
Love that. Love that.
Next game on the board, the Cleveland Browns are traveling to take on the Baltimore Ravens, another divisional game. 6-5 for the Browns, 7-3 for the Ravens. Are favored 3.5 points at home, over under 47.5. Expecting Lamar Jackson to be back after that weird illness crap where Lamar Jackson doppelganger started last week.
Yeah.
You had mentioned something about the Browns before the podcast where there is some rumblings that,
Yeah, but Baker Mayfield looking like nobody wants him to start on the team. And when I say nobody, I'm talking about his own teammates. They're like, there's some talks. And whenever these things come up, it's not always just like
it's not
nothing.
just smoke. It had to come. It came to fruition from somewhere.
Yeah. So it's a topic of discussion. Like there's a legit fear that his teammates think that he's not going to take him to the promised land.
Yeah, and he's hurting them more than helping them playing through this injury. And we've seen that on the field. Like, he doesn't look good.
Yeah. He's also seems like an immature person to me.
Yeah. Ego. He lets his ego get in front of kind of what's best. Is kind of
right.
what I look.
And as a leader, as a quarterback, you can't really be like that in the NFL.
You'll be able to put your ego aside.
Right. And so the Browns actually, I know they're 6-5, but they've scored 14 or fewer points in 5 games this season, which is tied for most in the NFL.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Texans, Jets, Lions.
Yeah.
They do better than the Browns do as far as scoring points go when they do lose.
Consistently.
Or like So it's like, what are you doing, Browns? Like you're about to face the Ravens at home with little to no receivers. Jarvis Landry's still injured. I don't know if he's actually going to play. You're still going to use your rushing attack, but Lamar Jackson's back. He's got new weapons, like down the field, middle of the field, behind him, everywhere. Even his we don't talk about Latavius Murray very often, but he's at least back.
Yep.
And Freeman's there. Like they've solidified all their roles. Like that is the team that's going to take him to the Super Bowl, right? Yep. They've established that. Like that is their team. The Browns are nowhere near that. They're still figuring shit out. So something's got to give. Like you can't score 14 points or fewer and beat the Ravens. Yeah.
The Ravens have had a weird season, right? I mean, they have big games where they win. Like 5 weeks ago, right? Last 5 games for the Ravens. 5 weeks ago, they beat the Chargers 34-6. Like just destroy. And that was when the Chargers were like peaking. And you're like, holy shit, Ravens are for real. Next week, what happens? The Bengals come and just demolish them 41-17. And then they beat the Vikings 34-31 in overtime, right? Oh, shit, another high-flying offense. And then they travel to Miami and lose to the Dolphins and only scored 10 points. And so it's just been like one week after the other. Last week they won a really shitty game 16-13, but that was with Tyler Huntley. So I don't know. Even with Lamar there, I mean, what Ravens team are you going to see, or what Ravens team are you going to get?
Yeah, but the Browns are pretty bad.
They're bad.
They're a 6-5 record, which is insane. Every team in that division has a winning record, by the way. Yeah. And then the Ravens have actually never have not beat a team in that division just quite yet. Wow. So the 2 losses.
Wait, so they've lost all of their games against that division?
Which is 2 games.
Okay. They've lost 3 games, but 2 of them are to the division.
2
right? Cincinnati and then Steelers, maybe? Have they lost to the Steelers?
Have you guys played the Ravens yet?
I don't think we play the Ravens.
I don't think so.
Who did they lose to? So they lost to Miami, they lost to the Bengals, and then they lost to Vegas.
Oh, this has only been 1 game?
Yeah, so it's only one game in the division.
Loss.
Well, that stat doesn't really mean anything now.
No.
They haven't beaten the AFC North.
1 game.
1 game.
Yeah.
No, but the Browns just came off of a win against the Detroit Lions, 13-10.
Yeah.
You barely just edge out with a 3-point game, a field goal win against the Lions,
and that was a Tim Boyle led Lions, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't even Goff.
No.
God, that's sad.
Yeah. So I don't think that the Browns have the firepower just to compete with the Ravens.
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson's 8-1 as a starter in his career after losing his last start. Yeah. So he comes back and typically wins the next game.
I'm expecting a big game from Rashad Bateman. I think Bateman, Andrews, I think they're going to have big games. I think the Ravens are probably going to put up 30.
Nice. I hope Andrews does that because I'm 6th in my league, in my other league. Need to crawl my way back up.
I'm 6th in our league, and I have Andrews, so similar situations.
Something going on.
So
here.
we all need Andrews. That's a Sunday night football game.
I need Andrews not to do well because you are 6th in our league.
Wow. All right, man. So it's begun. I need you to lose so badly. Who are you even playing? I don't even know.
Trouble.
Oh, my God. So easy victory
bro,
for you.
Bro,
and Swift got hurt. My God.
Wow.
Who have you had that's already played?
Chicago defense 6 points.
Yeah, I started them in my other league. Underwhelming.
Yeah.
They sure got 10.
6 is that's whatever.
Yeah, it's poop.
6 is better than -6 or -1.
I haven't had one of those negative years.
I don't think I've had a negative all year, so I don't know what that's like.
So scary.
But that's Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football, the Seahawks are traveling to Washington to take on the football team. Seattle's 3-7. A couple more losses, and they might as well just kind of pack it in for next season because playoffs are looking glim. Washington's 4-6. They just had a couple of decent victories. Heineke kind of coming to life here. Another winnable game. The line is literally dead even. So it's a coin toss here. Over under 46.5. Which side is the coin going to flip
I'm
to?
going Washington football team. I'm taking the football team over the Seahawks. Yeah, so check this out. We love Russell Wilson, right? Like he's proven everything he needs to prove. He's going to the Hall of Fame. We know all of that.
Yes, sir.
But Russell Wilson has a 35.1 completion percentage on third downs this year, which would be the lowest of any qualifying passer in a season since Chad Hutchinson in 2002.
Oh my God.
Chad Hutchinson?
Michigan was he Michigan?
Dallas.
Yeah. Dallas.
Yeah. So he's playing like ass on third downs. Like straight up boo-boo. Like doo-doo and boo-boo. Straight up. So this is bad. Okay. And it hasn't improved. He's actually going on the wrong trajectory here as far as doing things. So I don't know. And Washington football team's defense has kind of solidified. And then this is that time of the year where Heineke starts being all tenacious.
Yeah.
So it might last.
It's tenacious time with Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
Great podcast name for Taylor.
And the Seahawks are actually bad. It's still bad. They're 31st in offense. A lot of that was Geno Smith, but whatever. They're 28th in defense. That had nothing to do with Geno Smith. They're 23rd in rushing, and they're 30th in passing. These are numbers that we've given to like the Lions and the Dolphins. Like they're at the bottom tier, whether we like it or not.
I know.
They are one of the worst. At what point do
we just stop giving them the benefit of the doubt and just being like they're bad?
I think we're going to have to go all the way till the end until they're eliminated because they have Russell Wilson. But they're bad. Like you need to know this. The Washington football team is better than the Seahawks in every single category. Offense, defense, passing, rushing. They're just a better team.
Yeah. God damn it.
It's crazy. I mean, I've never seen an even line before. I think this is my first time.
Really?
Yeah, I've also not betted for a long time either. But yeah. No, even line, I honestly don't know which way to lean because I feel like any given week, Russell Wilson could come back and have a solid performance.
Yeah, it's like the finger's finally feeling better.
Any given week, well, it's been 7 weeks.
Yeah.
But that
he's been hurt.
Yeah,
last what?
The mallet finger is really fucking with him for sure. It definitely seems that way when he throws. So I just don't know injury wise. Is that something that every week is getting better? Like is it just he's screwed till the end of the season dealing with it, and then they like do surgery or they figure out how to get it better? Because if that's the way he's playing all year, then we should be fading the Seahawks every game.
I mean, if it's an injury that he can't move his finger, doesn't that like you get more mobility?
Yeah, he should be getting more range of motion
as weeks progress.
Yeah.
Okay, so it should be getting better.
It should be.
It's like a self-healing type thing.
At what point do we stop talking about the finger?
Yeah.
Like, what if it's not the finger?
It's
just
got to
Russell
be.
Wilson.
Dude, but even before the injury, he wasn't playing bad. He was playing great, right?
Yeah, he was playing.
Yeah.
He was playing okay.
So it like until he like has a season where he's completely healthy and just
Yeah.
sucks dick, we can't be like Russell Wilson sucks.
Yeah.
Like he bumped to Tyler
It's
Lockett.
the only reason I'm starting DK Metcalf every week
Yeah.
when I probably shouldn't be. But I mean, that's the hope and faith that comes with Russell Wilson. It's just like even if you're not a Seahawks fan, you have like this weird bias approach.
He's got God on his side and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, we can't fuck with that shit.
Exactly. So it's going to be a tough game. I'm going to have DK against McLaurin on Monday night. That's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully I can actually get some production for once in my life.
That's a fun game.
One thing that's going from Washington, like going to their favor, is when you look at smart money. So Seattle opened as a 3.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
And now it's even.
Yeah. So
right?
all the money's on Washington.
All the money, all the smart, because when you first go into the bet, that's like the smart money going in,
Yeah.
and then people like us going on Sundays,
Yeah.
and put the bets
Dumb
in.
bets in.
Yeah, and so smart money.
We wait till the lines moved against us and we're like, yes, bet this.
Perfect time.
Yeah, let's take it.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, dude,
more
if I'm a
things to
Seahawks
point.
fan, I'm sweating right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, yeah, this loss, if you have 8 losses, like I don't care if it's 17
No.
17 games, at that point you're just like
yeah.
they're not going to string
And they haven't proven anything that there may be a resurgence.
No,
you know,
they
their
have not.
defense is still bad.
Yeah.
Their defense is one of the worst.
Yep.
And football team out here just like beating Tom Brady and stuff, like that's no joke.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's Monday Night Football. I wish it was more of an exciting Monday Night Football game, but I mean, it could be.
Yeah, we got Antonio
offensive-wise.
Gibson, bro. We're going to be high-fiving like 4 times
I hope
that
so.
game.
I hope it's like 15.
15
Times?
times?
Yeah.
Damn.
Every carry, you're high-fiving?
Every carry,
God
just because
damn.
he's out there.
I will
The fact
literally go just do something erratic. If he gets me like 30 points, yeah, erratic to show it's going to take over the town for the
Damn,
week.
30 points. I mean, it could happen. Seahawks are bad.
That's
So
true.
that's the last game on the board. Couple things. You guys want to jump into survives real quick, or you guys want to just do like a quick playoff dive?
Whatever.
see-
We can do for whatever works.
Yeah, let's do playoff dive real quick.
right.
So I just want to I'm just gonna pull up the standings, and I just want to look at kind of the playoff picture because we're week 12. You know, there's only 6 weeks left, and playoff spots are slowly getting solidified, and I want to see kind of who's in the race, who's pretty much out of it, and kind of what's to look up to or look forward to. So let's start with the AFC. Obviously, top to bottom this year, there's 7 playoff teams. You have the Titans at 8-3. They're number 1. Ravens are 7-3, but they played 1 less game, so take that for what you will. Buffalo's 7-4. They win the tiebreaker against Kansas City because they beat Kansas City this year.
These teams are all garbage.
Kansas City's 7-4, sitting at 4th place, and then you have the Patriots also tied with them at 7-4 at 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati's currently one of the wild card spots. They're 6-4, and they win the tiebreaker over the Chargers. Best win percentage in common games, so teams they've played against, they have a higher winning percentage. And the Chargers round out the 7th seed here in the playoffs in Week 12. They're 6-4, so they're still in the playoffs despite all the ups and downs. And then you have a couple of teams that are literally just on their ass. You have at the 8th seed Pittsburgh 5-4-1. You have Indianapolis, Vegas, and the Browns 9, 10, and 11, all at 6-5.
Yeah.
So above 500 teams not in the playoffs so far. If you're looking at it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, arguably 7 teams that are fighting for that 6 and 7 spot in the AFC. You have the Bengals, the Chargers, the Steelers, the Colts, Raiders, Browns, and even the Broncos. That's 7 teams who are 5-5 or better.
Yeah. The Chiefs are going to take the number 1 spot.
You think so?
It's going to all end up being the same thing that's always was going to end up happening.
Inevitable.
They just had a
Thanos
bye
style.
week at the perfect time, and now they get to just reload their offense. And here's a fun fact, by the way. So, who are the Packers playing? The Rams, right?
Mhm.
And we're like, oh, my God, these 2 teams are so good, right? Whoever loses that game is going to have the same record as the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are playing their worst football.
Yep.
Like, that alone should kind of scare you a little bit. Like, the Chiefs are playing really bad,
Yep.
and then the Packers and Rams are playing like the best they've ever played.
Yep.
And they're going to have the same record. So you're like, oh, my God, where is the ceiling for the Chiefs? And
Yeah.
it doesn't exist because they're going to be number 1 by all this is said and done. Titans, yeah, okay. Ravens, you get beat by the Dolphins. Like, come on.
Yep.
The Bills lost 4 games in like the weirdest ways possible.
Yeah.
None of these teams scare me, The
Patriots
Patriots scare me.
Mhm.
Patriots scare me, but they don't have that offensive firepower if they
Yeah.
needed to like keep up in games. That's just a whole different type of gameplay they play. That team's going to they'll probably have a bye week or something. Or actually now there's only 1 bye week. So it's going to be close. But I am fully on this Chiefs wagon once again because just again, like everything I just said, like they're playing so like terribly, and yet they're gonna have the same record as one of the best teams in the league.
And of the top 6 teams in the AFC right now, the Chiefs have the highest strength of victory. So clearly the wins that they're racking up are against good teams, and all of their losses have actually been against really good teams. So yeah, I don't foresee Tennessee staying up there, right? They're too injury riddled, and like again, they're just trending down.
Yeah.
Baltimore, as long as you have Lamar Jackson, I mean, you're always going to be there,
Yeah.
but their defense has a shit ton of holes that they need to kind of figure out. Buffalo, up and down. In the playoffs, obviously, you still don't want to fuck with them, but you're right. The two biggest teams to me, the scariest teams are the Chiefs and the Patriots. I mean, you have Cincinnati, Chargers, Pittsburgh, and then you have even Indianapolis, their 9th seed. They would scare me.
Yeah,
if they
I don't
sneak
wanna
into
play
the 7th seed, I wouldn't want to play the Colts.
I never want to play a team that has like a strong running game,
Yeah.
you know, like and with pretty good defense. Like
Yep.
I don't want to mess with that shit.
I think they will. I think the Colts end up getting into the playoffs at the 7th, or I mean, even outright winning that division.
Yeah, could happen.
Yeah.
They could
I
win.
don't think the Chargers are going to last either.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not sure if they
I
sustain.
honestly see the Bengals and the Chargers dropping out of these playoff spots.
Yeah, Steelers could, historically they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They could sneak in one of those wild card spots.
I actually don't see that happening.
I mean, I'm just saying they could.
They
right?
could.
Like who are they competing with? The Browns, the Raiders,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Broncos, maybe. Like you don't know what the Broncos could do. I don't know.
Yeah.
If the Broncos beat the Chargers this week, then they have a. I mean, they're probably
They're
in the
pretty
playoffs.
much right in there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's a clusterfuck of 7 teams that, again, every week is going to have implications. So, a lot of these teams will play against each other here through the next 6 games. So, ton to look forward to. But, again, Steelers, Shovit, your Steelers are right in the thick of things, trying to catch that wild card spot. I guess, they're still technically in the division,
You
too.
can win the division. There's
No,
7.
they're 2 games back from the division. So I mean,
Yeah. It's not over.
It's definitely not over. It's just that knowing that what the Steelers team is like, and seeing all these other different teams teams like the Colts,
Yeah.
even the Chargers, Patriots.
They all have special things, and that special thing for you is your defense, right? So if the defense can come together,
Yeah. If the injuries
then that's
come,
your
back.
that's your superpower.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say the 4 teams for certain that are out of the playoffs, the Jets are 2-8, Jags are 2-8, Texans are 2-8, even Miami's 4-7, and yeah, sure, they're still in it, but I think they're out.
Yeah.
So that's the AFC. Jumping over to the NFC, we got the Cardinals here with the number 1 seed at 9-2. Packers 8-3 hit the 2nd spot. Tampa Bay is 7-3 with the 3rd spot. Cowboys winning their NFC East division at 7-4 with the 4th spot. Rams are 7-3 with the 5th spot, the 1st wild card spot. The Vikings are the 6th seed at 5-5, and then San Francisco is the 7th seed and the final playoff team at 5-5. Of to note, all those teams, none of those teams have a strength of victory above 500, which is interesting because in the AFC side, you had Tennessee and Kansas City and the Chargers and the Raiders have all beaten teams. Their strength of victory is above 500. So something to look at. I mean, people always say the NFC is better, but yeah, record-wise right now, they have more wins, but strength of victory a little bit different. So you have outside of the playoffs, kind of right in contention, Philly 5-6, Carolina 5-6, the Saints 5-6, and then you have a bunch of 4-6, 4-7, 3-7 teams. So, shit, those guys aren't out of it either. So you have Washington, Atlanta, Chicago, even New York and Seattle. They're just kind of barely hovering there. In the NFC, the only team you can say clearly is out of it's Detroit.
Lions. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to play any of these teams. I don't want to play the Buccaneers. I don't want to play the Packers. I don't want to play the Cardinals. I don't mind the Cowboys. The Rams I really don't want to mess with. 49ers I don't want to mess with. Eagles I don't want to mess with right now. So that's a lot of teams that and even the Washington football team I don't want to mess with them either.
Yeah.
It's a lot of teams that could be fighting for spots. I can easily say that the Saints, I don't mind playing the Saints anymore.
No, same.
I don't
think they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's basically the only one, right? So there's a lot of this is going to get really, really interesting really fast because a lot of these teams are going to be playing each other very soon here.
Yeah, from the NFC South, I think the Buccaneers take that division,
sure.
and then I don't think anyone else from that. No one else is gonna make that wild card. I don't see the Panthers making the wild card or Saints, and then Falcons are 4-6. They're pretty behind. But as far as the wild card is concerned, I think the Vikings, Cowboys, and the Rams. Those are the 3 teams outside of the division winners.
Yeah.
Those are probably the 3 teams that actually legitimately have a chance. Either Cowboys and Eagles from that division, Cardinals and Rams from that division, and then the Packers and Vikings. Like they're all top 2 right now.
Yeah, those are top 2, and then
but I don't see anyone else that's like 3rd place that could potentially be a.
But don't forget there
sleeper.
is there's 7 teams, right?
7 seed, right? So you have 1 extra playoff spot.
So who's the best 3rd team in the division? 49ers.
You have the 49ers. In that division with the Cardinals and the Rams, right? The 49ers, you have the Eagles who are the 2nd team. Carolina's also the 2nd team. So, yeah, the best 3rd team right now is the 49ers. So, the way it's currently sitting almost seems like the way it should end up in the NFC.
Right? That's what it seems like, but there's teams making surges.
No,
like
yeah.
Eagles could win that division.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm still not counting out the Panthers. If the Panthers win this week and they're 6-6,
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck with that Panthers defense. And that offense is annoying. Like anytime you're facing a team that's a read option team or a quarterback can run, that's a nightmare for defenses.
Absolutely. And also, it does look kind of bad. Like the Packers are 8-3, Vikings are 5-5, but we have another game with them.
Yep.
And the Packers play the Rams this week, right?
Yep.
So those could go either way.
I mean, yeah. You look at if the Packers lose to the Rams here and the Vikings somehow beat the 49ers, you're 1.5 game out of first place with the Packers having played one extra game, right? So you still have one more game to be one game back, and then you play the Packers. Yeah. So, anything goes there.
Anything does go. That's an interesting playoff scenario we got going on.
Yeah. Anybody down there in terms of Washington, Atlanta, Chicago, you see making a late push?
Yeah, Washington, because they've done it before and they beat Tom Brady. Like they've actually have a resume that proves that they can do stuff like this, and their defense is kind of coming together. These other teams, absolutely not. No. None of these teams.
Falcons fake news. Bears aren't going to win.
Bears, even if they win a couple games, they're gonna get knocked out so quickly. Like there's no integrity. Like there's no like foundation for any of these teams. Like what do they use to beat teams?
The Bears have the worst strength of victory outside of the Lions, of course, who haven't won a game.
Garbage teams.
So that's interesting. That's the playoff picture. I want to talk about that week to week because every week it's going to change, and leading into the playoffs, it'll be important. Let's end the episode with our survivor picks. Again, to recap, Shishot, you're 8-2. Shovit, you're 6-5. I'm 11-0. This week, Shovit, you are starting us off.
Yeah, I am starting, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Falcons against the Jaguars this week, and the reason for that is just the matchup. I like the matchup that the Jaguars defense, I think, is beatable. Even if the Falcons haven't been consistent, I think this is the week that they come out and play and beat the Jaguars.
In Jacksonville. So on the road, you're taking the Falcons. I am going to take the Ravens. Again, and for me, it always somehow ends up that I'm taking primetime games. It's a Sunday night game. I'm taking the Ravens at home against the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, Baker's not the answer. Their offense is shitty. Lamar's back. Ravens at home. Give me the Ravens. Shishot, what about you?
Yeah, I am riding on this Eagle hype train. Not only because I'm joining the bandwagon, but I've kind of believed in them all this whole time. There's just too much talent on this team. The defense is coming together. I really don't see how the Giants could beat the Eagles. And historically, Eagles have their number. There's like double-digit victory margins throughout these two
rivalry,
teams. Yeah, this rivalry. Like over the span of I gave those stats earlier. Yeah. But yeah, they have their number, and Eagles are on a surge to make the playoffs. Giants just lost their coach. A lot of disarray going on there. Yeah. They got Saquon back, and he still can't do anything. I have no faith in the Giants right now.
Yep. So Shovit, you have the Falcons beating the Jaguars in Jacksonville. I have the Ravens winning at home against the Browns, and Shishot, you have the Eagles beating the Giants in New York. So those are the survivor picks, and that is the episode of The Only Playbook. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking it out with us. That is episode number 23. We will update you guys on all the injury, any other fantasy implications on our social media, Twitter @OnlyPlaybook. Again, thanks so much for joining us. We're The Only Playbook. We will see you guys on Monday.